So good afternoon or good evening to everybody wherever you are in the world. Talent Finders would like to welcome the talented entrepreneur and founder of the famous Jenny Taylor Boudoir photography. So welcome, Jenny.
Hey, how are you?
Good, and you?
Good, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Great. So firstly, I'd just like to congratulate you on all your achievements and what you are doing for women. As the founder, as the founder of Famous Jenny Boudoir Photography, can you share with us a little more about your entrepreneurial journey and into photography?
Yeah, gosh, that was 10. We're going to celebrate 10 years in business next year.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm so excited. We have studios right now located in Chicago, Nashville, Laguna Beach, and soon to be Baton Rouge and Scottsdale, Arizona. So
amazing.
I'm so excited about it. And so that's my main company. I have four, I guess you would say 3 companies. Yeah, I left corporate America 10 years ago, and I've always wanted to be a photographer, and I literally quit this $150,000 a year job. I was working like 20 hours a week, and I feel like God came to me and said, you just need to do this. And everybody in my life back then really didn't believe in me as far as like becoming a photographer. And I had no training and no experience, no business experience. And so I just believed in myself, and I literally quit my job and did this full time. And now it's grown into, we're the only company like this in the whole United States with all of these private studios owned by me. And we've helped thousands and thousands of women worldwide.
Incredible. That's amazing. So what led you to a niche boudoir and glam photography? And was this a natural and organic transition for you?
Yeah, I knew. So since I was 8, when I got my first camera, I just loved seeing people smile. Back then, my parents had gotten divorced, and I was very sad inside. And I remember like grabbing the camera and just seeing other people's faces light up with happiness. And I just loved that in my soul. And so I just knew I wanted to do that. And I asked one of my best friends, hey, what should I take pictures of? I have no idea like what this company is going to be. And she said, what if you do some of me in some lingerie for my boyfriend? And I remember like my face getting bright red, and like I'm from this like small cornfield town outside of Chicago, and it's super conservative. And I just like, I'm like, oh my gosh, no, that's not what I would ever do. And she said, no, like something pretty like Victoria's Secret.
Wow.
And I thought, okay. And I searched the marketplace at that time 10 years ago, and it was a lot of like men doing it with like flash photography and like leopard print sheets, like super not our style.
Yes.
And so I asked a couple girlfriends like, hey, it was really new back then. Hey, would you want to do this? And I had 6 of my friends book the first day. And then after that, I had 6 people booked every weekend until we got so busy that I had to open my first actual studio.
Wow, that's amazing. So obviously you've touched on, owning your studios in different parts of the U.S., so obviously Chicago, Nashville, Laguna Beach, California. Was this part of your vision and dream to expand, and how do you feel you have impacted and changed women's lives?
2 good questions. So no, when I started my company 10 years ago, I had no vision, no business plan, no experience or anything. I just literally knew there were a few things I set in place when I started, and I thought I wanted to run the highest level of integrity business possible. So I would never promise something I couldn't deliver, providing the highest customer service level that I possibly could, and just really doing my best. And at the end of each day, if that's what I did, I was going to be happy with that. So I think what happened was clients were so obsessed with my work ethic and the quality of the photos that it just spread like wildfire, because we really do a different type of a look in our shoots.
Yes.
And in 2014, we had a lot of the girls from the popular shows on TV, like the reality shows. We had Sheena from Vanderpump Rules and a lot of the Bachelor and Bachelorette girls. And so that really propelled the business into this place that I never even dreamed of.
Wow.
The demand was so high. People were literally flying in from all over the world to be photographed in the winter in Chicago, which is treacherous if you've ever been here.
Wow.
And so, that wasn't it, having these reality stars throughout the years weren't really in my plan either. Right now I'm talking to another Real Housewife that might be coming in. And I'd always wanted to go to Hollywood since I've been little, and I always had that like twinkle in my eye, and I just decided 3 years ago that I was going to try it. And hey, why not? Like if it worked in Chicago, let's see if it works in California. And I opened in Beverly Hills and hated it so much. And so I closed the business after 3 months. I lost almost $100,000 of my own dollars.
Wow.
And I was really defeated, actually. I felt sort of like a failure. And I just remember sitting on the couch after like 2 months of closing there. And I thought, if this is working in Chicago, maybe Beverly Hills isn't the right city, but there has to be another city. So I didn't let that stop me. And I decided to open Laguna Beach. And it was a great idea because it was a lot more conservative in that area.
Wow.
And Nashville has been booming. And so I've learned so much from opening these. But I never had a vision, and I actually don't have a vision for what I want my 20 years to look like either. I just really try to do my best and lead from my heart and hire the right people to help me.
Amazing. So to get a little more serious, you've been through hell and back many years ago in an abusive relationship. Can you please share with us a bit about this, and was this something that motivated or inspired you to take your experience and turn it around for the positive?
Yeah, so in the last few years, I have been in a very dysfunctional relationship, and it was abusive in every way possible.
Yeah.
And it's actually still hard for me to talk about, to be honest.
Okay. Well, whatever you feel comfortable sharing. No pressure.
Yeah, it changed my life. So 5 years ago was the first person that really, I didn't know what emotional abuse was. I didn't know what a narcissist was. And I was really caught off guard because I thought God had brought me this person that I was supposed to be with for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And quickly after, we were together, I saw a different change come out that really scared me. And everything started to be really controlled.
Yes. That's
so
what narcissists and sociopaths do, right?
Yes, my whole new podcast is going to be all about narcissism in the next year in 2020. So, but a couple years ago, I was just in this really, what I thought was the rock bottom experience, but I've had one since then. Yes. And I just have always decided to take like my hardships and always say like, I'm probably not the only one going through this. There has to be at least one more person in the world, failing at the business in Beverly Hills or being in a relationship like this. And so I just tried to use my experience to say, hey, just because I like run these awesome businesses doesn't mean that I'm not perfect. There's nothing perfect about me. And I just wanted others to know that like they're not alone. And so I started what I call the Sparkle Lifestyle Company. And that is about 4 years old. And we do really impactful women's retreats. Our next one's in February in Laguna Beach. And actually we have a one-day retreat in Chicago, November 10th.
Wow.
And so if anybody's listening and they're interested, you can go to jennytaylor.com and everything is there. But, at these retreats, what we do is we find the part of ourselves that's holding us back from living our best life.
Yes.
And, and I started my group on Facebook, Feel the Positive, and my podcast I just launched, Feel the Positive. And so it's all about showcasing real people that are successful, that have triumphed over tragedy.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
And I have a lot of ideas that are going to be coming to the marketplace from a recent experience that I had.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, hopefully you can come back and share more about that when you've got some more updates. So that kind of leads me to the next question, which is relatable. So there is a big spotlight on sexual harassment and abuse, especially now. We live in a digital world, which is amazing, but there is a dark side to social media and men grooming women and children. as a woman who has been through her own set of challenges, what would be your advice to other women, and why do you think that men, married or not, use their positions of power to do this?
Ooh, such a good question. I have so much experience in this. So, yes, I'm going to be creating something helping women in this exact question, actually. So there are actual predators that are out in the world, and the social media platforms are making it so easy for these predators to find their prey. And just speaking from a woman's point of view, I did have this happen to me, and someone found me online and basically told me everything I'd want to hear, I guess you would say, to lure me in to, fall in love with him or whatever, not to fall in love with him, but to, get the conversations going and to really tell me what I want to hear. I guess you would just put it that way.
Yeah.
So we need to be careful with these people. I always say if there's a married man that's reaching out to me, no matter if I'm in a relationship or single or whatever that looks like, the only reason a married man should ever be reaching out to me is for business reasons. And my business is all women. So really, unless someone's trying to sell me something, that would be the only reason a man should be reaching out. I always say to women, do not friend just random men, and definitely not married men. There's no reason to have any of that in your life. No. And I think it's so cowardly of a lot of people that are online that are, sitting behind their computer screen and luring these people into whatever it happens to be, their business. That's another thing to really watch out for at these businesses. You search the business owners that you're going to work with. If you're investing money with somebody, make sure anybody can create a beautiful website and have beautiful marketing. But that does not mean that that person actually has an office, that they're registered to do business, that they're even legit, that they are in business at all. So in this day and age, if you are dating, if you're doing business online, be so cautious before you spend your life with someone or your money with somebody.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So while you were in this abusive relationship, what was the turning point for you? And what would your advice be to others? And how do you feel through your boudoir and glamour photography, you've helped women, and has this helped you in your own healing?
Yeah, actually, I've done 20 boudoir shoots since we've been in business 10 years. I usually do 2 a year, and I have used my own company for my own comfort and confidence boost, I would say about 3 times in 10 years. And I vividly remember those shoots because I do remember breaking up with this person and really just feeling like a shell of who I was. Yeah. And I was so skinny. I got down to 120 pounds, and normally I'm 140. So that's a big difference, and just felt so sickly, just really sick. And I did the shoot and I thought, I'm never going to have this happen again. And it really did boost my confidence to see I am beautiful inside and out. And, I always encourage my clients, we're very different. We don't, just because our name Boudoir is in our company, we let our clients wear anything they want. So they don't have to wear lingerie. They can wear a pretty dress or jeans or a skirt or whatever they feel comfortable in. So that's amazing. My company is all about finding that inner beauty. It's not necessarily about finding the outer beauty, even though the photos are so amazing. It's not really what it's about overall.
Wow, that's amazing. So as a photographer in a niche market, I would imagine that it requires a lot of planning, as there is a fine line when it comes to creating classy images and looking tasteless. So how do you strike the balance, and what is your process?
So one thing when I started the company, before I even had a client, I decided I was always going to run the company as if I was the client myself. And if I liked it, then it would be okay. And also I drew a really hard line in the sand of what was classy and what's trashy. And, we don't do any nudity. We don't do any extremely provocative shots or poses. And I always just made sure that whatever I was going to be doing, that if my mother saw it, because my mother is like a first grade school teacher and my grandma's the librarian, I thought if I'm comfortable showing them these images, then I was on the right track. And so I just have always done that over these years.
Wow, amazing. So, so if a woman who has never done something like this, what would your advice be to that woman or to that person? And who are you thinking about in terms of style and photography? And do you have examples as to how you've helped women overcome their fears?
So I think what I heard is like, and let me know if this is wrong, but you know, all women that want to come in to do this, they're all nervous, and nobody comes in and says, I look hot, or I'm a 10, or I'm ready, or every single woman comes in and they say something like, I don't like my chin or my elbow or my foot or my knee or whatever it is. So, you know, if anybody's listening and they're like scared to do this, it's so normal. Like all my clients are nervous. One thing I put in place at my company that really sets us apart again is all of my team. I have like 30 amazing women across the country that work with me, and they've all been previous clients, so they know exactly how you'll feel when you come in. And, you know, that confidence boost, that is just a gift within itself when you come in to do this. Like you are totally like stepping out of your box, doing something new, crossing something off your bucket list. Just those things alone are going to give you that confidence because you're stepping over the fear. And once you step over fear, you know, on the other side lies strength and power. And so if anyone's listening, if you are in an abusive relationship, this is something, a lot of the times when I hear in abusive relationships, the client will say, I really want to do this, but my husband won't let me, or he thinks this is terrible. He won't think I look pretty. And it's hard because I want to say, this is for you. This isn't for anybody else. And once women do step over and come in, I've had so many women throughout the years say, you know, even years later, oh my gosh, that day I'll never forget. And I have these beautiful photos to remember how I felt. And that's what's so important.
Wow, amazing. So you've clearly built a solid reputation and a wonderful business. What is your advice to women who are looking to choose a specialist like yourself in this style of photography? And is there, and as there are many shady types of people, you know, in this industry, what would your advice be to women who are looking for this kind of thing, like, you know, photographer, whether it's yourself or someone else? Like, what would be like the key questions that people could ask, or, you know, in order to know that they're actually safe and secure and in a professional environment?
Oh my gosh, I get asked this by all the major magazines. Okay, so if they go on my Facebook page, Jenny Taylor Boudoirs, there's the first video that comes up is an hour-long video of the dangers of boudoir photography. We did, my team and I out in California a couple years, 2 years ago, did this whole thing about what to look out for. And if you go on my website, jennytaylorboudoirs.com, there's a question and answer list to ask. But the main things are, you know, do you do this in an actual studio, and do you only do boudoir photography? Because you don't want to go to someone's like master bedroom or their, you know, basement or their shed. You can't go to a hotel because it's totally against the law. You can't run a business out of a different business. You know, ask them questions like, do you have two-way mirrors to allow men to sit and watch? Which I couldn't believe when I heard that from a company. Terrible. Do you have video cameras that are recording my session, and are they being sold online for people to watch live? I couldn't believe that one either.
Amazing.
You know, how long have you been a photographer for? Also, if you're looking at a website and there's only like 2 or 3 models or women that are on the website, that person probably doesn't have a lot of experience. So you really want to see how long they've been in business. You want to look at all of the reviews online. Ask them if they have heat and air conditioning or parking. Ask them if you're going to be walking in alleys when you get there. You know, what type of changing room that they have. Are they going to be watching you when you change? Are they, those people, women don't think of asking these things because number one, they're so nervous. They're excited to do this. They've heard it's going to be fun and they're excited. So they don't think of asking the questions that, like, one client here, I'll never forget this, about 3 years ago, had done a shoot with us, and she had told my team that she ended up at this man's home. This was a year before she came in to work with us. Ended up at a man's home. He used a woman's name, I think, on the website or whatever that was. She came with a girlfriend. He took her into the basement. He had a wall of weapons that she had to choose from. And then she ended up in his bondage set. So, yeah. And so that's really sad because we're like on the other end of the spectrum when it comes to professionalism. And it's so, really be careful. There's a lot of disgusting people, especially men, that are out there that are doing this for the wrong reasons. So just be careful whatever you're doing.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that very valuable advice. So what would you say some of your biggest lessons and learnings have been, and some of your greatest career highlights?
Well, I think I mentioned a couple. I would say, like, my biggest failure was, two of them come to mind. The first one is, when I decided to close Beverly Hills, just because I didn't really feel the client, if that makes sense, out there. I did feel like such a failure at that point, and to lose $100,000 was just monumental back then. And, I learned from that, like, it doesn't mean that it's over. It just means that this wasn't the right spot. And I think I would say the same thing, like, about relationships, like, at the time you feel kind of like a failure, you were with this person, it didn't work out. And then you have to remember, like, the sun is always going to shine again. So don't ever let anything take you down to a place where you don't think you can get back up, because you can. And some of the highlights, just the biggest one is the team of women that I have working with me are the absolute heart and soul of the company. And I'm so impressed and proud of these women that work with me and help our clients. And I'm so excited for the clients that walk in and proud of them. And then also, it's cool to have reality stars and celebrities come in and have all these locations around the country and travel worldwide, and all of that's great. At the end of the day, if I can just make one person happy and smile, that's just what I've always said, and that's just what's in my heart to do.
Amazing. So that leads me to the next question. A big part of your focus is helping and empowering women, which is an awesome part of your vision. Is this also to help beyond the photography through speaking or women's events? And is this something you do or plan on expanding on?
Yeah, of course. I have actually, once a year, I have a huge conference. They're called the Sparkle Conferences, and hundreds of women come, and I get up and speak about positivity and living your best life and confidence and empowerment. And it's just a really good, like, feel good experience. I want everyone to leave with, like, wow, that was different. I don't do anything boring. So everything I do is like very high energy and fun, and there's tons of music, and it's dark, and the lighting's cool. And it's just, if it's not like a normal, like, women's conference, it's a very unique experience. And the most awesome thing is, if you guys are listening, I have such a reach here in Chicago, hundreds of thousands of women over the years I have. And so I just have to put a couple marketing pieces out, and everything gets sold out. So I don't even do major marketing. So if anyone's interested, jennytaylor.com, and fill out, put your email in so you can get on our list, because those tickets go super. We sold out 100 tickets within like 3 weeks before.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So that also kind of leads me to the question around leadership. So there's a big emphasis on leadership, which seems to be very loosely used these days. So what would you say your definition of leadership is?
The number one thing that comes to mind is just doing what you say you're going to do, and also being a visionary and going with whatever, following your dreams. If the other thing is always going with what you believe is the right thing in your heart. And so if you're in a group of 100 people and you're the only one walking left and everyone's going right, if that's what you believe that you should be doing, then that's what a leader does. A leader does not follow others. They don't do the wrong thing. They do the right thing all the time. That's what a true leader is.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. So when women come to you and they do more provocative photo shoots with your full female professional team, do you also guide them in terms of posting on social media? The reason I ask this is because of the issue of women being targeted on social media platforms, and what would be your key tips to other women?
I'm sorry, what was the end of that question?
So what would be your key tips to other women, or your advice to other women
about posting their photos online?
Yeah.
Well, number one is do not let your photographer put anything online without your authorization. And once you put something online, always know that anybody at any time at any point of life can always find it. So to be comfortable with that, we allow our clients to choose if they want us to use their photos online or not. So that's definitely something to ask a photographer, because if you sign your rights saying that they can use them, that's a little shady too. It probably means that they don't have enough clients that they need to build their business.
Yeah.
And the other thing, like as far as boudoir shoots go, it doesn't really matter what you're wearing in your photos. There are predators out there that are going to prey on you if you're wearing a turtleneck, a fur coat, a bathing suit, or a lunge. It doesn't matter about that. It is very empowering, I feel like, to be able to put yourself online feeling and looking confident. And if you're good with that, then I believe that everybody should not everybody should do it, but if that's something that you want to do, then go ahead and do it.
Okay, perfect. So as a transformational coach, can you share a little more background, and can you share some examples of how you have changed and impacted lives, and what differentiates you from others?
Yeah, so the type of transformational work that I do is what we go back in time and we find the little girl or boy inside of us that might have been paralyzed in fear, sadness, anger, feeling bad, guilty, shame. And we let that little girl inside of us have her conversation for the first time to be able to kind of relive what that was and reprogram the subconscious mind to give her the ability to change the story fully, so that when the triggers come in as now we're older, the brain has been reprogrammed into understanding that there's nowhere like that for it to go any longer, that reaction doesn't need to be there, and that we can react in a different way now. We can feel a different way. This is years of, I've been in this therapy for 5 years. I've literally invested $250,000 in this, and I get certified at the end of this year for this other specific type. And so it's just a really powerful way. It's very challenging. So this is not, this isn't a woo-woo. This isn't a mindset shift, even though I do a little bit of that, and that is very important. The work I do as far as transformational work are for the people that have gotten to a place in their life. Usually they're pretty successful and they're like, I don't understand why this one thing is not working for me. I don't know why I have anxiety all the time. I don't know why I feel depressed when I have this great life, whatever that looks like. So it's challenging. And, you know, one story that just pops in my mind, I had a woman that, didn't understand why she had been holding some extra weight on herself. And we relived it and understood that she had been sexually abused when she was younger. And so in return, what she did was turn to food as her coping mechanism all those years ago. And she added weight onto her, but what she didn't realize was she added it because it was a safety measure to her, so that no man would then come, to give her those advancements for the future. So once we unravel that, what we have to do is say, hey, like, is this behavior benefiting you? Because at one point in your life, our behaviors like eating like that really protected her from her feelings at that point. So it was really valuable, and you have to like thank those parts of yourself. Like, thank you so much for being there for me for all of these years to protect me. But then at some point it's like, well, is it still working for you today? Or could we give this part like a new story and a new way to be? And does that feel good to you? And all my clients are always like, yes, please. And it's just such a, like, it's what it really brings is hope, joy, and peace. And once you can bring all three of those into your life, even if it's only like 5% more than what you've been feeling over the years, it is like such a weight that's lifted off, no matter if it's depression, whatever the person is dealing with. It's just so freeing to be able to have those three emotions back.
No, that's amazing and very powerful for the person going through that process as well, I can imagine.
Oh, yeah.
So that leads me to the last question. What would the three key pieces of advice be that you would give to other women and other entrepreneurs?
Oh, gosh. I would say number one, just start your business. And so there's no right way to start a business. You don't have to have a business plan. You don't have to have all this money in the bank or all these investors. The first thing you need to do is have your idea, and you need to find a client to buy it. That's number one. So what I would suggest is if you're like looking to start a business, ask your friends and your family, what do you think about this? And do kind of like a survey and say, see if there's a market out there for this. Believe in yourself. There's no one else. If you're a business owner, there's no one else that will believe in you like you can believe in yourself. You could have everybody else believe in you, but if you don't in yourself, you'll never move forward. And always do the right thing, no matter if it's hard, no matter if it's you're going to lose money as a business, whatever it is, always the client, I would say like the client's always right, sort of, in a way that I always say 1 in 100 people are always crazy, but you can't please everybody. But at the end of the day, like if me as the business makes a mistake as far as like we ordered the wrong album or whatever the case is, if we lose money because of that, then that's what we have to do. We don't charge the client extra because of our mistakes.
No, that's very important.
Very important. So those are the first three that I just thought of.
Well, that's great, Jenny. Thank you so much for sharing, and hopefully we can have you back in the future to share your future projects and things.
Yes, thank you so much. That was so much fun. Thank you so much for having me on. I'd love to meet any of your guests, and if you're listening, I always give a gift card away for when I'm a guest on others' podcasts, and you can screenshot this episode and put it on Instagram and tag me Everything Jenny Taylor. And I always give a gift card away for that too.
Awesome. That's amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah.